Dear forum participants, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very welcome you all to the session dedicated to the practical implementation of the circular economy in the Baltic Sea region. We will have a look, and also we will certainly discuss at a level possible the various challenges, successes, national strategic actions, and also examples of the regional cooperation and also sectoral approaches. My name is Uģis Zanders. I will be leading this session, and I'm representing the Council of the Baltic Sea States, which is intergovernmental organization uniting all countries around the Baltic Sea, plus Norway and Iceland. Then we are working on three main political priority areas: safe and secure region, which is a cooperation between civil protection authorities, also protecting the child, and also it's a forum for task force for against human trafficking. Then also we have cooperation in regional identity priority area, which is cultural and youth cooperation, and also education. And then, not last but not least, we have sustainable and prosperous region priority area, which is my domain, where we facilitating and localizing Agenda 2030 and its sustainable development goals, and also addressing the maritime economy and science cooperation. All those elements we will touch today also during our discussions, where certainly implementation of the sustainability agenda is high. In order certainly to address all those political important issues, we cooperate very closely with our regional partners, like sister councils, Nordic Council of Ministers, also the associations of the municipalities, like Union of the Baltic Cities, and also our strategic partners, Baltic Sea States Sub-Regional Cooperation Platform, and also Nordregio, Swedish Institute, and others. Some of those regional cooperation examples you will see and listen here today. But at the same time, the long-term priorities is not only the thematical directions which are defining our agenda. Most the daily, let's say, current agenda that is defined also by the presidencies. We have rotating presidencies principle in our council, and then that's depending on the presidency areas. That's also will focus and is focusing on certain specific aspects of our agenda and priorities in the Baltic Sea region. And today I'm very pleased to give the floor to our representative of our current presidency, Germany, and also she is the chair of the expert group of sustainable development addressing localizing SDGs, green transformation of the industries, and certainly circular economy. Marie-Louise van Minkhausen from Federal Ministry of the Environment, Nature Conservation and Nuclear Safety, and also Consumer Protection, will set the scene for our session by introducing the German presidency of the agenda of the CBSS for the expert group on sustainable development, and also with broader perspective. Marie-Louise, floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Uģis. And good afternoon to everyone. I'm not an expert, but within our ministry, I'm responsible for bilateral and regional cooperation in Europe. As has been outlined by UGIS, today's meeting is a contribution to the work of the expert group on sustainable development of the Council of the Baltic Sea States. Within the German presidency of the Council of the Baltic Sea States, we are working on the following key topics. Germany has identified the promotion of offshore wind energy as a first priority under its presidency. The idea is to use the Council as a platform to support regional cooperation regarding offshore wind. The second priority is to work on dumped munitions in the Baltic Sea, which pose a risk to health, to maritime activities, and of course to the marine environment. A third priority is to strengthen youth involvement in the Baltic Sea region. And we will, of course, continue the work of the expert groups. There are several expert groups for the Council of the Baltic Sea States, one of them being the expert group on sustainable development. As UGIS has pointed out, I have the honor to chair this group during the German presidency. We are pleased to further promote dialogue and cooperation on the topic of circular economy, something we are following up on, which had been started already during the Norwegian presidency. And today's event is another contribution which we would like to make during our presidency. Circular economy is highly relevant for a lot of sustainable development goals because circular economy is about the responsible, sustainable use of resources. The need for using resources in a more responsible way becomes more and more evident. Like climate change, which has, for example, brought water shortages to Northern Europe, a phenomenon which we haven't witnessed so much in the past and had been underestimated here. Water shortages poses a lot of challenges, like threatens our forests, our biodiversity, our food supply. And our economic existence is also dependent on resources. With a lack of water, with few raw materials, nothing really works in industry. The technical effort we have to make to get increasingly scarce raw materials out of the ground is becoming ever greater. And in the end, we use the resource environment to dispose our waste from mining. As a result, pollution and the costs for raw materials are rising. Global resource consumption tripled between 1970 and 2017. And in a business as usual scenario, it is projected to double between 2017 until 2060. This puts a greater strain on the already battered ecosystems. The International Resource Panel noted in its last Global Resource Outlook that 1/3 of air pollution, half of global greenhouse gas emissions, and 90% of biodiversity loss and water stress are caused by the extraction and processing of material resources. So it has really a huge impact. As we can see, resources, biodiversity, and climate are very much interlinked. Therefore, we must see these topics together as a key towards sustainable development. Besides these environmental effects, resource efficiency is becoming more and more relevant for stability and independence when we think of global supply chains. These became a lot more fragile in the recent past. The benefits of resource efficiency are nothing really new. However, they become more and more evident. This was also acknowledged by the G7 when they adopted the Berlin Roadmap for the G7 Alliance on Resource Efficiency this summer. The roadmap is a systematic approach aiming to promote resource efficiency and circular economy across all relevant sectors. In doing so, the Alliance members' aim is to contribute to reducing the climate, biodiversity, and pollution impacts of material use through the entire life cycle of products. So with resource efficiency and the circular economy, we have two essential links in this longer chain into which we must put our economic, technological, ecological, and social innovation potential in order to pave the way towards a sustainable development. The next presentations will address this with ideas and solutions from the Baltic Sea region. I'm very much looking forward to the next presentations on how available resources can be used sparingly in a cycle. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Liz, for this very holistic overview on how complex issues are related to the circular economy, resource efficiency, decarbonization. Also, it was being highlighted already during the plenary sessions earlier this morning in our forum. And also, I'm very pleased that these issues are brought up by German presidency, not only in Council of the Baltic Sea States, but also at G7, where these being taken very seriously and strategically into consideration. Very much we look forward to how we will process on that, and we certainly we will touch upon those issues later on during our discussion round. But now I would like to also engage our audience in our discussion, and I would like to invite our audience to reply to our public poll regarding which economic sectors from below mentioned, from your opinion, should be their first priority to maximize the benefit of the circular economy. Please, could you share that poll? And I will give you some 2-3 minutes to reflect on what of those economic sectors, from your opinion, is most important to how to boost the circularity and resource efficiency in our overall economic area. You see the polls and how you should vote. Give you 2 or 3 minutes to reflect on, and then we will move on with our presentations and focusing already in particular what kind of strategic approach we should use, and in terms of action plan, and also how to implement those strategic objectives in real life. Thank you for the votings. We are pleased to see that votes are taking place. Okay, I'll give you 1 more minute to reflect on. Which from the construction, information technologies, textiles, transport, health and pharmaceuticals should be as a first priority to maximize the beneficial effect on the circular economy, which could be the driving force for that. And that, I guess, will take together other sectors. And certainly when we looked on those practical examples later on during the discussions, then that will be also touched upon some of those sectors. Thank you very much for voting. We will look on the results of the polls later on the discussion round. Where I will ask also our presenters to reflect from their perspective, which should be the most important economic sector should be addressed. But now I would like to invite Krista Kupits from the Estonian advisor from Estonian Ministry of Environment to present the progress implementing Estonian National Circular Economy Strategy and Action Plan to introduce, to show how the national strategic approach should be addressed and what kind of actions and challenges should be addressed. Krista, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. And hello. I'm really grateful that I have this opportunity to share Estonian story about circular economy. I must say in advance that we are still on our way and the process is not finished. But first, let's talk about Estonia. One of the smallest countries in Europe, only 45,000 square kilometers and with 1.3 million people in it. The population density is also one of the lowest in Europe, 24 humans per square kilometer. While in Denmark, for example, the density is 138 people. Our capital is Tallinn, and it has 400,000 inhabitants. And if you are still looking for a place to spend Christmas holiday, then come to Tallinn. It has one of the most beautiful Christmas markets. But let's dive into the topic. First, Estonians first heard word circular economy in 2015, when European Commission launched its first circular economy action plan. Then, as Latvians love to say, Estonians are slow. We think 4 years and then had our first circular economy stakeholder meeting. And shortly after that, we could not stop. Right after this meeting, we understood that we need to educate more stakeholders and public sector. We organized our first circular economy conference. And as they say, what gets measured gets done. We had no idea what the situation in Estonian circular economy was, and we decided that we have to study it. First, we had a study about indicators that will lead us the way towards circular economy, and then we launched special circular economy webpage. Side note, it is available in English, so check it out if you can. And then we had our second conference already, which had more than 500 participants. I want to mention that Estonia is really low populated, so 500 participants was huge success for us. And then at the peak, the corona came and we were stuck at homes. And we decided that we, as a Ministry of Environment, cannot do this alone, especially while sitting at homes. We established circular economy structure that I will speak more, but right now, let's say it was a great decision. Throughout all this process, Norway grants, we got even more backed up implementing circular economy. And we have a 2-year project for upgrading circular economy. We will use it for communication, for education, for empowering local municipalities. And meanwhile, the structure that I mentioned kept on working. And as a result, environmental ministers signed the white paper for circular economy. The white paper defines most important development goals and sets principles that everybody can use in their work to move towards circular economy in Estonia. And Estonians love conferences. By the end of this year, we had our 4th conference. It was a few weeks ago. So, But let's look into the future, what the future will bring. We know that we have to tackle the digital passport topic. Estonia was the one who brought it to life, and now we want to front run with it. And also textile waste collection and recycling is something that we need to take into focus right now. Next year we will finish our waste plan, national waste plan, and establish Green Transition Action Plan, which is led by Prime Minister. It also includes circular economy, but as well energy, transportation, and so on. We will use structural funding to make it all happen. And you all are kindly invited to our first Circular Economy Summit. That will take place in next November. Come and see with your own eyes what the Estonians have done. No conference this time, but big summit where you can touch and see everything in real life. The goal, of course, is to be front runner in circular economy. But as our time today is really limited, I just briefly want to go over about the structure I already mentioned. We decided that all ministries need to be responsible for circular economy. Environmental ministry cannot do this alone, and we made a lead group out of them. Deputy secretaries from each minister were assigned to be circular economy lead group member. But they said that they need experts. They need expert knowledge to back up their decisions. And then we asked 13 smart and well-known Estonians to advise our lead group. But obviously, the hardest work was done in stakeholder involvement groups. We had more than 15 different themed working groups that gave input to white paper and to other development documents I mentioned. And I said we had a study about indicators, but somewhere in this timeline, we also had a study about the state of circular economy in Estonia, about the situation. We wanted to know what our strengths are, and what our problems are, and what our opportunities in specific areas. We focused on construction sector, textile sector, food and wood industry, and service sector. And this is how you take circular economy as a priority in one country and systematically move towards better future. Watch and see how Estonia becomes front leader in circular economy, thanks to our technical knowledge and hard working.
Thank you, Krista, very much for this very inspiring overview about how Estonia slowly but surely are moving forward to achieve their strategic objective to become a front runner in the circular economy. And I wish you all the best to come even faster than 2050, as you have indicated in yours. That's, I believe, already by the next first circular economy summit, you already will be showing the leaders' perspective and leadership kind of strengths on to being a leader in that. But you mentioned I have one brief question, so certainly we will develop that further in our discussion round. You looked on those indicators and on the state of the play assessment in Estonia, but have you looked also at assessing some kind of progress that you have achieved since your first meeting in 2018, if I'm not mistaken, it was. It's already 4 years past. Have you looked already and kind of assessed what's progress was been?
Yeah, our first stakeholder meeting actually was 2018, and after that we have had more than 100 different kind of meetings, but we can see that entrepreneurs and businesses are really taking circular economy as a priority since then. Mm-hmm. They didn't know about it, but now we can see that all communities talking about circular economy. So I think the work has paid off.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I sincerely appreciate the invitation to join the first Circular Economy Summit next year, and I will definitely mark already that in my calendar. Thank you, and we will have further discussions in our round after the presentations. But now I would like to invite our sincere strategic representative for our strategic partnership, Baltic Sea Sub-Regional Cooperation Platform, and to see how how the regions and sub-regional authorities are addressing the circular economy and what kind of collaboration patterns and collaborations can be used to facilitate that cooperation. Bartlomiej from the Baltic Sub-Regional Council and also professor at the Szczecin University will present the outcomes of the project and the progress towards achieving. Bartlomiej, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's try. If you can see it, is it all right now or not?
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. So I would like to say some words about the CCI Circular Economy and Place project, which was realized. In fact, the first stage was realized in the years 2020-2021 by some partners from the South Baltic. As you can see, Danish Cultural Institute, which was a leader of the project, Goethe Institute, our partner region, Pomerania Voivodeship, which is also as my region, West Pomerania, a member of Baltic Sea States Sub-Regional Conference, and two NGOs from Estonia and from Latvia. Latvia. I'm not sure if Northern Dimension Partnership for Culture is NGOs. So sorry, it's a rather public institution. So the project was concerned in the frames shaped by European Commission Action Plan for Circular Economy, as well as unlocking the circular potential of the Baltic Sea region report made by Pomerania Voivodeship. And as you can see, the main aim was strengthening the contribution of cultural and creative sectors and industries, and especially rethinking of the role of cities and regions. Well, I think rather the communities of the cities and regions in creating a circular economy by 2025 and in the next future. So the main aims, the main results which were expected were at first sharing and disseminating knowledge within groups, including representatives of the policy of public administration, entrepreneurs, NGOs, experts, scientists, and ordinary citizens. The second was the creating a policy and strategy of action by activation of cities and regions in the field of supporting entrepreneurs applying the circular economy principles, as well as increase the interest, understanding, and use of circular economy by local and regional communities. The third aim was developing, testing, and implementing solution aimed at increasing Baltic Sea region's capacity to implement the circular economy. And the fourth was to lead a change in the social approach to the circular economy, especially through combining its economic dimension with its cultural dimension, for example, by involving the communities in sorting, creating new solutions, and so forth, as well as an effective, in terms of content and form, information policy. But in fact, I would like to tell you especially about the challenges and gaps which were identified during the realization of this stage of the project. Because in my opinion, they are the main reason why the circular economy implementing is so difficult in the eastern and southern part of Baltic region. So, during the project, the main challenges were some problems related to the market. The first one was weak competition between entities involved in the circular economy. There are simply too few of them, and their poor competencies against entities that do not apply the circular economy principles. So people simply understand that a circular economy is too expensive. The second problem was a lack of proven development models, which means that entrepreneurs are afraid to take risk. The third was the lack of proven network of connections between producers, suppliers, distributors, and customers. These networks are still being created. The fourth was the lack of sufficient information on entities involved in the circular economy. And the fifth, the reluctance of entrepreneurs to cooperate, the belief that circular economy activities are poorly profitable. The second group of problems is a weak involvement of the public sector, especially misunderstanding and uninteresting in the circular economy. The project simply showed that public administration is not interested in implementing it because in an official opinions, it is too expensive, unnecessary. The second problem connected with public sector was weakness of local and regional authorities in terms of competences, organization, technology, and finances. In many cases, the regional and local authorities told to us that it's not their affair. In fact, it's an affair for the state authorities. So they will only wait for decisions from the capitals to realize only that was in case of Pomerania Voivodeship, which has no competencies to realize circular economy in the frames of own competences. Yeah, they have to agree their steps with Warsaw. The third problem is too many administrative barriers. For example, the need to build a production line according to export recommendations, which is quite expensive. Difficulties in finding market partners. Recovery processes are simply too expensive for administration. The next problem was thinking about the circular economy as a project with limited duration. On the side of public administration, entrepreneurs and residents communities. So a lot of people treat circular economy as a project which will end in the future. So they don't understand that it is task we have to realize day by day, year by year. And the most important problem is the lack of access to public and private funding sources. which we can see both in geographical dimension. In Eastern Baltic, it is much more visible than in Western and Northern part of the region. There is a big bureaucratization of the process of raising money, reluctance of public and private entities, for example, banks, to finance innovative solutions, and finally, financing organizational and technical support rather than specific practical solutions. So, however, the project was very interesting, and it was possible to identify the problems in the sphere of creating an idea and implementing circular solution. However, the conclusions are rather pessimistic, that there is a long way before us to change, especially the understanding of circular economy, to change the mind of people, to change the position of public administration, or even to change the entrepreneurs which are not convinced to this idea. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bartmay, for this presentation. Already, I believe that knowing those challenges is already, how should I put it, certain success. When you know what kind of problems you have to you're having, then you know which issue you should have tackled in the future. Do you have any kind of ideas about the follow-up this project, where you have identified those challenges?
Mm-hmm. Yes, of course. Well, the next stage of this project will be realized in the years 2023, 2025. And the main task of this part will be to enhance information policy. So we have to show people what are the advantages of circular economy and why it is necessary.
Mm-hmm. That is already, I would say, good news. And you have, let's say, follow-up actions after this project. Findings of this project. You have a look already look further how to address. And I think I look forward to your presentation in the first summit of circular economy, when that project will be already implemented, and then we will see how you are addressing those challenges and what kind of further challenges are lying ahead of us. But certainly we will come back to those challenges the project has identified in our discussion round. Mm-hmm. But now I would like to invite our colleague Myra from Vidzeme University to share another project, which is on BioBaltic, Nordic Baltic cooperation with biocircular economy, and it's the project being implemented in cooperation with Nordregio, one of our Council of the Baltic States strategic partners, and we look very much forward to hear what kind of how this bioeconomy sector is advancing in order to address the circular economy challenges. Myra, the floor is yours.
Yes, hello. Thank you for inviting me to this very interesting discussion. And I will also try to share my presentation as well. I hope you can see it. Can you see it?
Yep, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So I really represent Vidzeme University of Applied Sciences, and we are having a one-year project where we work together with Lithuanians, Estonians, Swedes, and more and more countries around the Baltic Sea involved with the topics of circular and bioeconomy. And actually, the why our university, because Udis already introduced with the project, but why our university? Because I was looking at Krista's presentation. I was thinking what would be my timeline or timeline of our university for the circular economy and sustainability. And you can see that it starts 2011. And really, it all started with eco business and with many projects, as you can see here, which are also quite popular. For example, Nobonet project, EduSME project, NatureBiz project, which particularly dealt with biological farming. And then, of course, several Nordplus projects which dealt with design thinking, which is very important tool if we want to perform change and if we want to become successful, especially for entrepreneurs and, of course, for the universities and students, where universities and students can help to entrepreneurs with that. And also you can see the last, this is the project I will introduce to you. So the basic idea of the project is that in general, this project provides a platform for generating awareness of different bioeconomy models through peer-to-peer learning and building networks across Baltic and Nordic countries. So we started with the fundamental and also applied research on bioeconomy and circular economy, and also later on we enable knowledge generation and exchange of different aspects, because we also involved clusters. We involved also consultancy centers, where they were very important parts in this knowledge sharing. And also we included financial aspects and industrial partnerships, and also symbiosis, which is a very interesting topic, and it becomes more and more important for the Latvia as well, and particularly Vidzeme and Valmiera, where Vidzeme University is situated. And of course, the project is funded by Nordic Council of Ministers, and it will soon, next year, September, will end. So we are working quite long time together. Actually, what is the part for the Vidzeme University of Applied Sciences, and what I wanted to stress today, that is how the educational institution can really help to entrepreneurs to become more circular, because I have been answering to this question also yesterday when I was giving open lecture on circular economy to our partner universities in Europe, and I got the same question: how we can really help companies to become more circular. And here is our answer, because we created partnership in this project, where we involved also consultancy centers, which were selecting particularly farms and processing food processing companies. And also we involved Institute for Environmental Solutions as a helping hand for the explanation of bioeconomy and circular economy. And from other side, we involved businesses from particular fields. But in this project, we aimed more on agriculture and food and bio-based services. So this is really a magic circle. And because we are talking about circular economy, this is a magic circle where students can really help with innovations. And these innovations, what they create, are really connected with circularity. It means that companies are working on their waste or their leftovers, which otherwise they would lose or they would count as losses. And what we work with the students, and at the moment, I am very grateful to tell you that at the moment, students are finishing, and on Monday we will have final pitches, and they have worked for a long time on particular cases from companies. Companies presented either, for example, one of the very popular juice producing company had squeezes and they didn't know what to do with them, and students were working on that. Others wanted to get more customers for the byproduct, which is also part of the circular economy, and etc., etc. So students were working in the groups on these innovations and challenges. And here you can see design thinking tool, which was mainly used which was adapted and used for these solutions. And the process how the students worked were like, first of all, of course, they were getting to know each other, and of course getting clear about topic what they have to work. And believe me, it's not easy because companies are also tend to change when they see such a young people and energetic people. They are eager to change and maybe to ask from students more than they were supposed to, because they realize that this is a power what they have now. Then, of course, it's information gathering and also company visits. Students were going to companies, seeing everything on place, how it works or it doesn't work. So they were able to see and observe. And sometimes they came back with other solutions, which also were connected with circularity and or bioeconomy results. And then, of course, during the development of the solutions, students were able to consult companies, consult teachers or lecturers, and also consult specialists in circular questions. Then they had a first pitch. I was also participating, and now they are working more on the final pitch, which will take place on Monday. And also companies are invited, so they will be able to see the results and observe and give a feedback. And of course, you cannot be always 100% sure that students will come up with what companies want or what companies have wished for. But in general, always companies give a feedback that the fact that students have worked with their cases or with their companies already means that they are getting external help. And you know that sometimes if you want to start doing something or you want to change something, you need somebody to just help you to step the first steps. And sometimes the students are really the first steps what come to the company and help to the company. So that was in really quick temp. I hope that I gave insight about the project. I'm looking how, yes, insight about the project, and I'm ready to answer questions or to give more information about our great project.
Thank you, Mara, very much. I should say, very interesting and showing practical example and methods how to work and bring science research and education together as a business, and also design thinking. That is, I believe, it's very important to use this approach when you already at the design stage thinking about this complexity of those issues, not dealing with the problem afterwards, but already at design stage you are addressing those issues. That is very important, and I'm very much look forward to learn more and to see the project results next year. And I have the question, perhaps, when you now testing this kind of approach on the bioeconomy, probably you have other sectors in mind that you may address in the same way.
Yes, we are actually having a meeting next year, January, with the food cluster, and we will go on with the next steps. And we have also my faculty particularly has 4 door pluses, and all of them are working in the direction of sustainability or circularity. So we are very active in that field.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you very much. I'm very interested and inspired about that, and certainly will be interested to hear more about future developments. Then thank you very much for the speakers for their presentations, and I would like to now, by listening to those challenges, what was presented by various speakers, I'd like to ask the audience another poll regarding what's from your perspective is the main obstacles for transferring from linear and circular economy. And I would like to our supporters to share the second poll with the audience and to ask those to vote for those questions. Which are, from your perspective, the main obstacle for transferring the from linear to circular economy? And have a time to think and reflect by remembering what you have listened today and what you, from your personal experience, what would be the main obstacle. We heard many things here today, and I'm very thrilled to hear what kind of aspects you consider most challenging. Okay, what do we have? We have we have a very brief moment for some discussions. Can we see the poll results on a screen? Perhaps if the audience was active on those questions. While that is taking place, I would like to ask to our speakers on the first question, what we asked to the audience, from which economic sector should be your first priority to maximize the beneficial effect of the circular economy. I know you certain your projects are focusing on certain those aspects you have already, but probably you have another kind of reflections. Marie-Louise, what would be yours?
The most relevant sector, you say?
Yes. Which would be the most relevant sector from you see that could give the boost to maximize the beneficial effect of the circular economy?
Not being an expert, for me, this question is quite difficult to answer, to be honest.
From your personal perspective.
Yeah, from what I've learned rather today, it's not so much about a particular sector, but rather about the question of how getting different fields together, like science, policies, business, getting them around one table. This was something which I found very impressive, what I hear today. When Krista told us about the stakeholder involvement, plus that in each ministry you have one high-level person who's responsible for circular economy, or when we learned about the cooperation among students and rural entrepreneurs. This was something which I found very encouraging too, and the positive experiences which you made, which sounds to me that it's very important that at least from time to time, getting science, business and politics definitely at one table, and these might contribute to overcoming some of the challenges which Bartolomei has told us about from his experiences, which might not help with all the challenges, but at least help to overcome some of these challenges.
Thank you, Marie-Louise. Then I would like to ask Krista, from your perspective, which sector would be, I know all of those are important, but which one you would put higher than others?
We all know that the resources are limited, and that's why we need to use circular economy potential even more. And if you ask me which sector is most important, then I would highlight transportation, because it touches all sectors, and also building has a big effect. But actually the study we made in Estonia showed that whatever sector we are watching, the most important is to think not about producing more, but how to make the product into a service, whatever sector you take. Then we can move towards circular economy even faster.
Okay, perfect. Bartolomei, what would be your reflections regarding the sectoral priorities?
Well, I think that we should be pragmatists, and if we would like to engage people in the idea of circular economy, so they should be convinced for it. And from all those sectors, the most connected to ordinary people are textiles. So I think that this should be the beginning, and the beginning which show us what else we can do.
Okay, thank you very much. Myra, your reflections?
I think now I should say, like, I agree to everybody before what you said, but now I will say that I think that it doesn't matter which industry, but I think there should be cooperation in industry among producers or sellers on that that they really share their waste or their leftovers. So the idea is that they start circularity amongst themselves without any other help, because there is already money they just need to start doing that. And there we have very, very many good examples already from other countries and from Latvia as well.
Thank you very much. And then let's say in 2 words, I will come back to you. What would be the most takeaway from this session that we had today? In 2 words, quickly, we have Marie-Louise.
Building bridges among practitioners, and I'm very grateful that everyone contributed to this EGSD session.
Excellent. Krista.
It's so nice to see that everybody are working together and we have same goals. So it's really encouraging.
Excellent. Bartolomei, what would be your forward-looking message?
Well, for me, the most important is that I can say that circular economy is not only theoretical view, but that is something which is very interesting for people from all regions all over the Baltic Sea.
And Myra?
Yes, I was happy to be here, and I was really interested to hear more about Estonia, Poland, what's happening there. So I got really good experience. Thank you.
And from my side also, thank you very much to all of you to contribute to this session. I believe that we learn a lot of interesting stories, and I look forward to work together with under German presidency still for next year, when we could look on those examples what we heard today, and we will look how we could address those in Baltic Sea region level. And all good luck with implementation of the projects, and I look forward to the next discussions, and probably that will be one of those summits Krista was mentioning during under Estonian framework. Thank you very much again, and have a great afternoon and continuation of the forum. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.